My kind of town, Chicago is. Yeah, Chicago. This is Crime Solutions for Chicago to heal Chicago now. I hope that you have the questions that I have. I have many questions. I've been here a long time and I love Chicago. But my question is, why is the crime so high here in Chicago? I call this my Dear Chicago Mayor series, and there's more to come, but this is my idea for Dear Mayor. We have a brand new mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson, which I'm very excited for. But Mayor Johnson, why is the crime so high in Chicago, and what are some things we can do about it? First, for anyone looking, if you love Chicago, if you want more videos from my perspective, this is my passion. Please like or subscribe now. It will help me greatly to spread the word and spread the love. Let's get started. Why is the crime so high in Chicago? All of a sudden, cannabis is legal in the past, 4 to 5, maybe more years. These meetings were held years ago to capitalize on cannabis as a healing drug. And now we have gummies and all type of companies with monetizing off of cannabis. Okay, but you've been hearing and smelling it all over. Have you noticed that in the cars, you could pass by a car now and they got loud and all these other different types of marijuana that smell a little odd, extra potent, but it's legal. And it's causing a lot of chaos in my opinion. Number 2, the conceal and carry has been promoted on an all-time high. Young men, if you take a poll, they've been throwing young men and men in general in jail who had their conceal and carry, but you miss one element and you're thrown in the county, and now you have to pay them some type of fee to get out. So that conceal and carry was promoted, but it had a lot of tweaks that it needs to happen, and nobody is really paying much attention to it. 3, the TV programs in Chicago. I traveled to Wisconsin and other states. I was even in Georgia for a while, and there are so many more holistic television stations than here in Chicago. Our TV here is purposefully toxic, okay? Purposefully toxic. And I feel that we need to have the FCC to come in to regulate what is being placed on our waves in order for people to change their ways. A lot of this triggered in me after I read this article in The Crusader that happened about July 27th of 2022 about how the Cook County jail population is the highest in 4 years. Let's look at the sheriff's office. This is the source from the Cook County Sheriff's Office. I believe his name is Tom Dart. Back in 2018, we were at 5,800 plus people in the jail, and now we have about 5,700 people, but it went down in 2020 to 5,300, a little bit over, okay? Now we're at 5,700. The electronic monitoring, that's not including the people who have the bracelets on their ankles and the people who are put out there because they don't have enough space for petty crimes and petty thievery. So they have to give them electric bracelets so they could go around and be like on home arrest or whatever. Let's look at the population by race, and this probably is not a surprise to most, but the black population represents over a quarter of the population of jail inmates in the Cook County Jail, which is so sad. It's so sad because if they picked up all of the men in any culture, there would be an uproar. But the women are so tired that we can't even, when you go down there, you see women in the county just crying. And I had to console a couple of women because they were just crying uncontrollably. You have to come up with thousands of dollars just to get this man off bail, or you're afraid that he's going to have something happen to him. Okay? So the white population has decreased actually over the past 5-6 years. And the Latino population has increased as well. Okay? So the Latinos increasing in jail, the whites are decreasing, and the blacks are pretty much going in and out, but they're pretty much just everybody in there, black. We know that there has been a war on drugs for years, for decades. And we know that drugs started as illegal substances, but now drugs are everywhere. And I must blame, or I'm not no blame at all, but we must make doctors responsible for the drugs as well. It's not just cannabis, it's not just cocaine. Because remember, Vicodin is cocaine. just another form of cocaine, and they're prescribing the drugs now. So the doctors are just as responsible as the street drug dealers, in my opinion. Incarceration brings, and I didn't put on here, but number one, crime leads to incarceration if you don't die, because crime leads to death, number one. But in case you do live when you're thrown in jail, the first thing is the homosexuality and the mental illness. Our men are put in prisons. They're being placed in cells for years without actually getting a trial date. And they're sitting in there for years with another man. Their hormones are high. Yeah, they give them saltpeter and they're giving them all types of drugs. However, they're still coming out with mental illnesses and having homosexual acts. With those homosexual acts, they're coming out and they're sleeping with women who are unaware, and they're spreading diseases. If you ask the Department of Health, they know what's going on. The head of households are missing, fatherless children, motherless children, because it's not just men being placed in jails as well, it's women as well. And then the major backlash of incarceration is that the family is destroyed and their future is destroyed when you get that record. No family, no future. It was said back in the day, when I was in high school, a lot of the young gangsters and stuff will always say they will put cars with guns and drugs in our neighborhood, and they would just have the trunk open and just be sitting there. Where are these drugs and guns coming from? We all hear the same story. We have no manufacturers. We have satellites that can look inside of people's hand while they're standing on a street corner. And you mean to tell me we don't know where these drugs are? For shame, Chicago. For shame. Secondly, we do know where the major drugs are coming from. It's from our doctors and the pharmaceutical companies. From diabetes medication to Alzheimer's medication to regular depression medication. We have dialysis centers everywhere. Vicodin, depression. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we know that the major side effects, some of them are suicidal thoughts and depression. Okay? When you have suicidal thoughts and depression, anything is possible for crime to increase in our city. Over $44.76 billion in retail prescriptions were filled in the U.S. in 2022. We are prescribing drugs at an all-time rate, and we wonder why people are depressed. We wonder why people are committing acts of murder and killing children in schools and all type of things. Because you're sitting home in depression, watching the news, watching TV, and you're lonely. Possible solutions. A breath of fresh air is very important. Citywide fasting and prayer. In King James it says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will they hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. We need to reduce the dependency on the pharma drugs and also make Big Pharma accountable for what they're doing in our neighborhood with producing drugs that create side effects that may lead to murder. We ask for the incentives to create incentives for drug abusers like cash, housing, or something. If you stay out and you're not doing drugs and you're doing a drop, let's give them $1,000, $2,000, or let's give them some credit at Walmart, something to stay clean. We have Section 8 programs. We're giving away food stamps. We're passing out money already. Let's find incentives for drug users or for people who are getting off of drugs and changing their lives around. 4, I would like for us to have a class action lawsuit from the city or state and the county for Big Pharma to support mental health and holistic living. They can take a percentage. We want a percentage of each sale to go to help us build facilities that help people manage drug use effectively. After all that, Chicago is still the bomb. Chicago is still a beautiful place. So after all that, you think, why would I want to stay in Chicago? Well, if you look around the world right now, California is a hot mess. Global warming is going everywhere, and we don't know what's going to happen. But spiritually, Chicago has water. Water is life. We have fresh water here, okay? Regardless of what people say about how contaminated it is, we have a lake that is being filtered through God. And this is one place to be. Our transportation systems are bar none. You can stand on any corner at any time and get a bus, a train. We have 2 airports. Chicago is the bomb for transportation. Culture, we are segregated, but we have fun with our segregation. We have fun when we do integrate. We have festivals. We have Latinos. We got the black culture. We got all type of things. We got the Polish neighborhood, the Irish. We have a mixture of culture here where you can live with your people and then integrate with other people. What other place can you find that type of stuff? New York, maybe. But let me add, it's very clean here. We're much cleaner than New York, and we're nicer than New York. Number 4, global warming. Once again, global warming is here. It's not coming. It has been. It's here. We're damaging our planet, and Chicago is one of the best places to be right now for global warming. If you notice, we've had very, very mild winters and very good summers. We just pray that continues. Thank you so much for listening. Please like or subscribe now. I hope that this was something for the Chicagoans who love Chicago. Please write down in the chat what you think, how you feel about Chicago. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll do more and more videos. I love you. Fall in love. Stay in love.